Greetings, true believers. My name is CT Leffler, and welcome to this episode of Pump and Motor Dialogue. Now, today's show, we've got a couple of our friends from Parker Lord in the Kings Mountain studio, Jonathan Thomas and Askari Badre-Alam, and they're here to talk to us about steer-by-wire technology, their TFD product line, and their new FFD product line. Steer-by-wire technology is a fascinating new technology that's finding its place in applications all around the world, including turf and off-road machinery. So take the dive with us into steer-by-wire here on Pump and Motor Dialogue. Ready?
Let's do it.
All right, guys. Well, I appreciate you coming on the show today. We got some folks from Parker Lord that came down from Cary, about 3.5, 4 hours away. Made the trip this morning. Going to tell us a little bit about steer-by-wire and their TFDs and lots of other things that I don't really know a whole lot about. So Jonathan, can you introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Jonathan Thomas. I've been with Parker Lord for about 18 years and mostly in a sales and business development role. So that's my current job, is looking at business development for some of our electromechanical technologies, which we'll talk about here in the show.
Okay, great. And this is your second time on the show. Is that right?
It is. Get veteran status.
Veteran status. It's a little different, though. We were just up in a conference room last time I saw you. But you came down here. We got you with the full
first time on film.
First time on film. All right,
Yeah.
Cool. All right, and Askari, can you tell us a little bit about you?
So this is my first time in front of a camera over here. So I've been in Parker Lord, originally from Lord. So we got acquired about 5 or so years ago. So I joined Lord Corporation about 24 years ago. And I've been primarily in engineering functions. So I've led different engineering organizations. I have worked in the R&D kind of functions for many, many years.
Okay.
And more recently, with the focus on the organic growth, I am teaming up with Jonathan to develop the TFD and FFD business line for our organization.
All right. Very nice. Perfect. All right. So before we jump into the steer-by-wire, the technology, the real reason you guys came down here, I'd just like to know a little bit more about you guys. So Askari, when you're not at Parker Lord, doing your R&D, your engineering thing, what do you enjoy to do outside?
Wow. So many things. I think I have kind of busy family life. I have kids. I spend a lot of time with kids, with their sports and activities. On the personal side, I picked up hobbies. I think I say like I get the hobbies from my kids. So I start something with my kids, and then they grow up and they move on, and I'm stuck with their hobbies. So more recently, I started fishing with my son about 4 or 5 years ago. He was little, and I wanted to find something common with him. So I started fishing with him. And then he moved from fishing to RC airplanes, and from RC airplanes to robotics. And I have his now I'm stuck with fishing as a hobby, and I also continued with the RC planes as a hobby. I also enjoy nature, so I like hiking. North Carolina is a very good place for it. And then I really like ceramics. I picked up ceramics in grad school that I continued for many years. It slowed down when I was very busy with family and work. But more recently, I'm picking back up. So I have a studio in my garage. I have a pottery wheel and a kiln.
Oh, that's great. I don't think we've talked to anyone that does ceramics. I kind of wish I'd asked you to bring a piece so we could put that on the table too. Okay. So Jonathan, same question.
Yeah, I have a few varied interests. I love to travel, but during the pandemic, everybody did something crazy into the pandemic, and I bought a summer home out on the coast, and so that led me to boating.
Okay.
A boat last year, and so now I find myself just spending more and more time on the water.
Okay, so I'm fairly familiar with the North Carolina coast. Where are you located? Beaufort. All right, nice. Yeah. I've been there.
It's a great time.
It's great.
Yeah.
The main thing I remember is Connor's Supermarket. Is that right?
Yeah.
That's always the place you hear about, right? Okay. Well, very cool, guys. Again, I'm glad you could come down, be on the show today. You brought a couple products here to show off and talk about today, but can you just give me an overview of what Parker Lord does? Just a general idea of what the product line is. Jonathan, can you take that one?
Sure. So Lord Corporation has a long legacy, but half the world knows Lord as a motion and vibration control company. So really our company focuses on solving vibration-related problems, really through material science, developing different elastomers and different tools that we have to solve motion vibration problems. That led into a journey with active controls, so creating vibration to kind of solve problems in a different way. So that expanded our competency beyond material science, kind of getting into software control, motors, a lot of different capability. And so the product that we are here to talk to today is a kind of a legacy or a product of some of that historical legacy.
Okay. And I know that the steer-by-wire technology, it's kind of traveling hand in hand with electrification in markets. I mean, we were talking about it before we got on the show. Off-road equipment, potentially some turf, potentially a little bit of maybe some construction, but for right now, more of the off-road vehicle side of things. Askari, can you explain to me and everyone else out there what steer-by-wire technology is?
So I think the steer-by-wire is at the cusp of probably a revolution. I mean, as the electrification of vehicles is happening, the first thing people want to do is remove the mechanical connections or hydraulic connections between the systems and change them to electric connections. So, I mean, from the steering point of view, traditionally your vehicle, which is any construction equipment, dump truck, combine, tractor, automotive vehicle, bus. There's some sort of connection between a steering wheel when the operator turns it, and either it's a hydraulic or mechanical that turns the wheels.
Right.
And then you have some sort of hydraulic assist or electric assist. In a pure steer-by-wire, you remove that link and you put a sensor at the operator. So the operator turns the wheel or the input device, and you can sense it, and then you can send that command electronically to a vehicle controller, and the vehicle controller will turn the wheels or track or whatever, turn the vehicle. So I mean the advantages of this are just like when there's a complexity of implementing it, but the advantages are huge.
Okay.
I mean,
so tell me about some of those.
So for example, I mean, you can do a parametric vehicle control. So for example, you can now that you're sensing something and you're moving the wheel, you can change the gear ratio. So for example, in a parking lot or in a low speed motion of whether it's a boat or a tractor or a truck, you can move a little bit and the wheels can move more because all software control.
Okay.
But if you're going at a high speed, the gear ratio, you need to turn a lot more for the vehicle to move. That has a huge level of advantage.
Okay, and the user can adjust that as they need it?
Or the vehicle designer can adjust it by software control. So they can sense, for example. They can also, for example, give you feedback based on what the vehicle is doing. For example, if you're going faster and faster, you can make the steering stiffer and stiffer and make it somewhat you feel like you get a sense of what the vehicle is doing.
Right.
But now in terms of other parametric things, like you were talking about, like what operator would do, like what user would do.
Yeah.
So now you can, because all the features and feel of the steering is set by software, you can make it multiple user programmable. So you can have operator 1 and operator 2. So, or operator 3. I mean, it's very customizable.
So if someone,
you can set it in memory setting, like sometimes people do it on seats.
Yeah. So if someone wants a little more resistance, a little more force back against them that they can feel, they can have that in their profile.
Versus casual mode.
Okay, there you go.
So you can make that setting. But you can also, in real true parametric sense, you can design the same steering system and put it on multiple vehicles, because all the field is controlled by the software parameters. So now you don't have to design different steering system, different linkages, different ratios for different type of vehicles. So you're now imagine you're in a dump truck or a bus versus a tractor. Very different fields.
Right.
But all those things are, so you design your steering system once, and you can change all the field and functions to parametric.
To whatever you need.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. No, I never thought about that potential of it, where you could come out with one design and have it for multiple applications and then just adjust it. The engineer can adjust it to whatever it's going into.
And can go on and on. I can say, for example, when you go internationally, so if a big company, they have a right-hand wheel drive car versus left-hand wheel drive car, you can just design one system. And because it's electronic, you can use it in any type of car.
The possibilities are endless.
Yes, absolutely. That's why I think once the technology gets traction and starts getting adopted, it will just take off.
All right. So, Jonathan, I understand in a traditional steering sense, when there's power steering, there's hydraulics involved. Like, we're all about hydraulics around here. We get that. Doing a little electrification stuff, but for the most part, still hydraulics. I understand where the resistances come from, where the feel from, that tactile touch that you get from the steering wheel comes from, for the most part. When you're doing steer-by-wire, how are you guys mimicking that, since it sounds like it's a pretty digital thing? I mean, if you didn't do anything, it would just be, you could just spin the wheel smoothly and indefinitely.
Yeah, I mentioned our background in material science. So back in the 1980s and 90s, Lord Corporation had developed what's called magnetorheological fluids.
Okay.
So again, half the world knows Lord is a chemical company. So magnetorheological fluids are a fluid with iron particles and other special ingredients, but essentially in the presence of a magnetic field, the fluid changes its properties kind of from a semi-solid, or from a liquid flowing fluid to a semi-solid. And so it's kind of a medium that allows us to transition from mechanical systems to electromechanical systems. So we've kind of created this fluid, we've put it into a rotary brake. We've also created linear brake, like shock absorbers that have been used in the industry for quite some time. But this MR fluid is kind of unique in its ability, and so we're able to create designs, with magnetic coils that can kind of dynamically change the steering resistance by sending electric current to the coil. The coil creates a magnetic field. The magnetic field changes the properties of the MR fluid, and that in turn changes the steering stiffness to the operator. So how fast MR fluids change their properties is really what makes it unique. So we can really offer some dynamic, your fingertips are wonderful sensors, and they pick up on very minute changes. And so how fast MR fluids change creates for a really smooth and nice steering feel. So.
Yeah, you gave me a demo of it when I was up there, and I know I still have it. Okay. I just can't find it at the office right now. I wish I did, but it's amazing, because you're right. It's just like this little liquid, and you guys have syringes on the ends, and you can just move it back and forth, super easy. Yeah. But then as soon as you introduce a magnet to it, like instantly, like you were talking about how fast it is, it just goes solid, and you can't do anything with it.
Yeah, and it's reversible, it's instantaneous, and so just having this kind of controllable fluid has kind of been one of the kind of cornerstones of some of our electromechanical product development.
If you've enjoyed the show thus far, please visit Lord's website at parker.com/Lord. That's parker.com/LORD. There you can find everything about their product lines, applications, markets, and more. That's parker.com/Lord. Now let's get back to the show. We've talked about steer-by-wire. We talked about TFDs a little bit. This is a TFD, I believe, as far as my limited product knowledge goes. Can you tell me what this TFD actually is?
Yes. So this is our next version of TFD. We call it FFD. So TFD is tactile feedback device, and FFD is force field device. So it's something that we are launching, but it is you can call it a TFD or a more advanced TFD. So what this device is, and for the viewers who cannot see what I have in my hand or in front of me, it's looks like a can. It's about 100 millimeter in diameter, maybe 150 millimeter length. And this device actually sits on the operator in front of the vehicle operator, and on the panel, and you connect a steering to it. And basically, it's a steering sensor. This is your connection between the vehicle and the operator.
Okay.
So what we have in this device is a fully integrated vehicle steering feedback sensor. Within this device, like Jonathan talked about, the MR brake we have, MR brake is an amazingly interesting technology. It's a very high bandwidth, very responsive brake where you can create haptic fields. With that device, so that's in the front end of it, we have a servo motor, which is again a very high bandwidth servo motor, and then at the back we have electronics board with steering sensor. So it's a quad redundant steering sensor where you can get 4 sensors outputs out, a lot of functional safety thought into it. So this device is again, like I said, is a main connection between the operator and the vehicle. That the operator turns the steering wheel. This device will sense the signal and send it to the vehicle, and the vehicle will do what it needs to do. What makes this device very unique is that it's fully integrated and qualified for the off-road or for off-road or on-road for a very rugged environment. It's designed for the life of the vehicle with functional safety in mind. So the steering function in a vehicle is considered to be one of the top 3 functional safety features. Means if the steering fails, the vehicle can have a massive accident and can cause a lot of damage, injury, or even death. So like brake, the steering, and a couple of the features are considered to be very high in functional safety. So we have developed this to meet pretty much rigorous industry standards of functional safety.
So you mentioned that this is designed to the high levels of the industry standards, but it seems to be a fairly simple device to install and use. Can this be used across multiple applications? Like, is it just kind of plug and play? Like, how does it work?
It's pretty much plug and play. It's a device that has all the functional features, the field features built into it, and you connect it to a CAN bus, and it can take commands from the CAN bus and provide the feedback the operator needs to get, and then the signal for the steering goes back on the CAN bus.
Okay.
It can be used on pretty much any vehicle. I mean, we have designed it to be small enough that it can be integrated in many types of vehicles. I think the size and weight is very, very important. And then we have designed it for 12 volt or 24 volt DC systems, so which are very, very common in these type of vehicles.
Okay. So Jonathan, let's talk about markets, applications. Eventually one day, can this just go on anything that has a steering wheel? Like, what's the plan here? What are you looking at?
Yeah, so we've been making TFD steering units since 2000, so almost 25 years.
Okay.
We've been playing in the steer-by-wire market, and it started out on forklifts. It's steer-by-wire. Just overall as a design is kind of expanded into different agricultural equipment, construction equipment, the marine market. A lot of industrial systems industrial vehicles seem to be looking at steer-by-wire. And, the final frontiers are automotive and more on-highway type applications, which are also now looking at steer-by-wire. So I think there's a definite industry shift, but if there's wheels and there's a steering wheel, then this is a technology that kind of comes into play.
Okay. So I know you touched on it a little bit, Askari, but Jonathan, can you talk about some of the advantages of steer-by-wire as opposed to the more traditional hydraulically driven?
Yeah, so steer-by-wire for some OEMs they're kind of it's enabling technology that allows them to rethink how the operator interfaces with the machine. And so that means with steer-by-wire, you can kind of take that steering wheel and kind of put it wherever you want to in a vehicle, or in the example of maybe a marine industry where boats may have multiple helm stations, where instead of routing hydraulic lines all over this boat, you can kind of simplify that process. So that in some instances can lead to cost reduction. But the idea of being able to customize your steering and how do we want the operator to interface with the machine during this specific function, it enables vehicle designers or the machine designers to kind of really force them to say, how am I going to get the most productivity out of this operator in this instance, and being able to customize that steering experience is really valuable for some OEMs.
Okay. All right, cool. Well, I mean, obviously I could ask you more questions all day and we could just sit here and talk about it for 3 hours, but we're not that kind of podcast. So that's most of the high level questions I had about what you guys do at Lord and the TFD and steer-by-wire and all that sort of thing. Do you guys mind if we jump into our game here that we like to play at the end?
I'd like to say a couple more
Absolutely,
things.
Go right ahead.
To build on what Jonathan is saying, I think there's the operator cap or the driver station. A lot of vehicles are going through evolution too. So there are a couple things that are happening. One is the automation in as the vehicles become automated. The function of the steering is changing. So now you imagine you have a work vehicle, you take it to the workstation, and you start. It could be a mining vehicle, it could be an agricultural vehicle, and the operator can just the vision is the future is GPS controlled, it's autonomous. The operator can sit and watch. So you don't want the steering column to take all the space in front of the operator. It's becoming less and less function. So having a small device that can be integrated, sometimes even in the seat handle, where you have a mini wheel and you're sitting on, and you have a full view of the field in front of you from toe to this roof, no visibility. And then when the vehicle goes in autonomous mode, then you can in some ways either you want the steering to move with as the vehicle is doing something, or stay stationary. Those things are something that people are debating, and they want it to be programmable. So in some certain cases, like your vehicle is taking a turn, you want to see the steering wheel moving so that you can you get an idea of what vehicle is doing. And certain cases, certain vehicles, you just don't want the operator to be disturbed. So they can read their newspaper or their video games, whatever they're doing, and or to do some other function when the vehicle is doing. So I think the value of electrification in the operator station is it's huge.
Yeah, it sounds like the flexibility of this as far as what you can do with it, where you can put it, the applications. I mean, it's I won't say endless necessarily, but it certainly outshines traditional hydraulically driven steering.
Our TFD, again, we've been doing that for about 25 years, and so it's a controllable brake. So there's limitations, meaning that we can control the steering resistance and how it feels, but we're not adding energy. We can't move the wheel, the steering wheel. And so again, that was kind of one of the driving forces was to, have more of an automotive like steering feel. So as you get out of your car and you get into a tractor or a wheel loader or something else, that it feels similar and they're have similar expectations. So that kind of pushed us to develop this new FFD technology, where again now we have a motor, we're adding energy, we can move the steering wheel, we can offer more steering refinement. It just feels like a higher quality. And so our speculation was, what does the industrial market truly need? Do they really expect as nice of a steering feel as a BMW? And The answer is in some instances, yes, they do, or they value it to at least a certain extent. In certain applications, we think our TFD product line is going to have a really strong, healthy, is a great solution. But in certain applications where they do expect a little bit more performance, we think this FFD is going to really fit a nice niche of applications.
Yeah. And I would say that in the haptic sense, we have a high bandwidth servo motor in this device, and we haven't even started scratching the surface in terms of what type of feedback we can give the operator. So if you imagine you have holding a wheel, and you have a servo motor connected to it, you can give some sort of vibratory signals, chirp signals, some low frequency, high frequency. So you can now communicate. The vehicle can communicate by hands. So you don't have to look at the screen with the operator on what type of warnings or other functions that feedback that you can provide. So we are excited about it and see how the industry evolves. There's some unknowns in terms of what features will be really stick in the industry and as we get used to of these electric vehicles. But again, from the device point of view, the capability of a haptic high bandwidth MR device coupled with the servo motor in a very, very small package, fully qualified for the application, provides endless possibilities to the vehicle designers on what they can do with it.
Yeah, and who knows what science fiction movie you're watching, but what the future holds for robots going out and doing all this work for us. But when we talk to customers, it seems like the human operator still plays an important role. So even though a lot of these machines are looking to develop autonomous capability, there's still a level of human action or moving the vehicle from this site to this area. And we think that humans are going to still be critical of what does that machine feel like, and should I buy this brand or this brand? And I think that even though steer-by-wire eventually may be eliminated because the vehicles do work completely autonomously, we think that there's still a long future of steer-by-wire and this kind of product.
And if you're out there testing something in the field, I mean, on paper, one product may be superior in every way, but if you hop on there and you're driving it and you don't like the feel of it, but this FFD and the steer-by-wire technology feels really good, someone's going to gravitate towards buying the one that feels good.
Yeah,
even
absolutely.
if it doesn't necessarily have all the other bells and whistles, because mainly your interface is that steering wheel.
Yeah,
and then you can customize it by changing software parameters. You can make it feel like the way you want to make it feel like.
Right, exactly. So you can fine tune it for each person.
Yeah.
All right. Well, very cool, guys. I appreciate you.
So you have a game?
I have a game.
Okay.
Would you like to play?
Let's see.
Okay, it's 10 questions. I'll throw it to one of you to answer first, and then the other can answer second, because we'll try to keep it civil here.
Okay.
All over the board. So I may ask you to explain yourself a little, just because we've gotten some unique answers in the past, but I don't know. We'll see. All right. So Jonathan, we'll start with you.
Okay.
If you received an elephant, okay, all right, and you could not get rid of it, can't sell it, can't, do something worse to it, what would you do with it?
I would start a window washing business. Yeah, I think elephants have just the ability to grab water, and I think that I could make a lot of money washing windows.
I like it.
Wow.
All right.
That's creative.
All right, Askari, same question.
I stand outside Chuck E. Cheese.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I think it would be the most fascinating thing for the kids.
Yeah.
So hey, and if I can get partner with somebody like you in the business sense, maybe we can start a business of petting zoo.
There you go.
Now, how many petting zoos will have elephants?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. I like it. So this might actually be the same answer for both of you since you drove here together.
Oh.
Askari, what was the last song that you listened to?
Wow.
Maybe not.
Yeah. No, I have to think about it.
Okay.
What last song? We didn't play any music.
Yeah, we didn't play music. We were just talking.
We were just talking. So I listen to rock, and my favorite channel is 96.1 if you people are in Raleigh area. So I would say I don't remember which one I'd like to pass on this one.
Okay, they can't remember. That's fine. Jonathan, do you remember?
Well, this past weekend I drove out to Asheville to watch a band called King Gizzard.
Okay.
And it was I don't even know how to describe it, but it was an awesome event. So,
okay. So did you know what you were getting into?
A little bit.
Okay.
A little bit. A friend brought the tickets, but it was I don't know, maybe like Grateful Dead on steroids. So, yeah.
All right.
Emotional energy music.
Okay. Cool. Jonathan, what was your favorite childhood TV show?
I had a lot. It depends on what we're reflecting back on, but
first one that jumps into your mind.
Dukes of Hazzard.
Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. I had embarrassingly, this is probably too much for the podcast, but two invisible friends when I was really little, Bo and Luke Duke, and so I'd find myself on various adventures in the neighborhood with the Dukes of Hazzard boys.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
All right.
So I'm somewhat ashamed to say it, but I'll say it. Mine was Barney. That's what I remember from
Barney.
Yeah.
Barney.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. Now,
how old are you?
Yeah, I'm not trying to throw any personal questions out there, but like Barney I watched that when I was growing.
I don't know, but I maybe I watched it with little kids in my family, but I remember always like be surprised by it. It's like, no, what is this thing? Why people watch it? So yes, no, if you ask me, once my childhood.
Yeah.
I don't know. We used to have TVs was very different. I grew up in Pakistan, so a lot of the TV we watched.
Yeah.
But was very different. I mean, it's like the whole days, and I think we have watched local TV. But for some reason, when you talk about kids show, that would be the one I would point.
Oh, okay. May not have even watched it as a child, but it's stuck in there.
It's stuck in there.
It's stuck in there.
And I am still fascinated by it. Why? What is about that show?
Oh, it's the songs, the sing-alongs,
Really?
I mean,
Purple Dinosaurs.
It gets in there.
There's nothing real about it.
No, absolutely. Okay, guys, I'm very impressed with these answers so far. Askari, what's the fastest speed that you've ever driven in a car?
Oh, yeah. This is college days, so I have to say it on the podcast.
I mean, we've gotten some pretty decent speeds out here, so.
So I was driving from Pennsylvania. This is winter break to Denver and going skiing. And we went to Nebraska, and we went to very, very fast. It wasn't a very fast car, but it drove fast.
Okay.
So we had a Honda Civic, and I would say we did hit 120 miles per hour.
Okay.
But it is amazing that you could see for miles and miles, and and the roads were kind of empty. So I think we breezed through Nebraska.
Nice.
Mine was on the Autobahn, so it was in kilometers. So I honestly don't remember, but I'm sure it was like 105, 110.
Okay. Yeah. Jonathan, what's your favorite carnival food?
Carnival food? I'm kind of afraid of carnivals.
That's understandable.
But when I used to go to carnivals, the funnel cakes seem to be a natural. Or those giant turkey legs. For some reason, just walking around with a giant turkey leg always seems feel good.
Feel good.
Yeah.
So for me, I think I have two. One is the turkey leg, and then followed by a deep fried Snicker bar.
Can't go wrong there.
Yeah. No. I mean that's I don't know
crazy
who invented it.
Yeah, with
Whoever
the deep
invented
fried at a carnival these days.
Yeah, I mean you can eat a salty turkey leg and then a sweet deep fried Snicker bar.
All right, Askari, dark milk or white chocolate?
Dark milk or of course milk chocolate.
Milk chocolate, okay. John?
Dark chocolate, is that an option?
Dark milk or white?
Oh yeah, dark chocolate.
How dark?
Pretty dark. I'm probably 70% dark.
Yeah. No, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm starting to taste the fruit of it a little bit.
But I'm not a Hershey guy, so
No.
count that out. It's not a chocolate.
Okay, all right. So high quality milk
Yeah,
chocolate.
name will work for me.
Okay. Jonathan, all right. So you're out on the road.
Mhm.
You're staying in a hotel. What temperature do you set the thermostat to?
I'm a 70 degrees kind of guy. If it goes below 68 or above 72, I'm just kind of
Okay.
hot or cold.
Is it 70 at your house?
That's probably like 71.
Okay.
I'm also cheap, so I like to keep it at 71.
That's fair.
Yeah.
All right. Shakara, what
So
about
for
you?
me, I think if North Carolina, I'm getting somewhat more aware of it. I would say, yeah, something like 70 would have been fine. But nowadays, I'm finding out that if I'm driving in sunny day,
Mhm.
and most of the time I'm driving, and I get sun on me,
Mhm.
and my skin is burning, I like to keep it cold.
Yeah.
I like to keep it like 67.
Yeah.
But if it's a cloudy day, 70, 71 is more likely.
Okay. All right. Those are reasonable answers. I've had some answers that I didn't feel were reasonable, but those are good. Ashkari, tell me a 4-letter word that begins with the letter B.
Bird.
Okay. John?
Bowl.
Bowl.
B-O-W.
I mean, it does. I just haven't heard that one before.
I just thought of
It's
this.
just the first one you come up with. All right. What is your favorite color and why?
Oh, green. And like Askari mentioned, his interests, I do love nature. And so I think that when you're out in nature, there's something that the human psyche connects with the color green with nature. So
Okay.
that's,
Very cool.
For me, it's blue.
Okay. What kind of blue?
So this is again interesting because I thought blue is blue, and then we went Carolina blue, and Duke is also kind of blue. But about a couple of years ago, I was buying a Jeep, and my daughter and we were trying to build it online, and we're trying to find a blue Jeep or a yellow Jeep, and we found this. They had a color at that time. They call it ocean blue.
Okay.
And I didn't know this ocean blue, and we're trying to research, and midnight blue, ocean blue. So there's so many blues, and we were making fun of it. We call it a blurple color. It's like blue with purple, and then we got that color, and I kind of like it now. Everywhere I go and I see ocean blue, deep ocean blue, I kind of like it.
Okay. Ocean blue. All right. Good. So there is more than just blue.
Oh yeah, this again. It's like no, you start looking at blues. Yeah.
All right. So last question, Ashkari, if you could instantly become an expert in one skill, what would it be?
I would robotics. My son is into robotics.
It's
and
the latest hobby, right?
It is latest hobby, but there's something to do with embedded controls, and I don't know much about it. I know control theory, but something to do with programming something and putting it on machine and make machine do something, and that is amazing to me. And machine learning is the next level. I mean, if I have to go back to college, I would go and do machine learning.
All right. Jonathan?
Do you get paid to taste bourbon or something like that? If I could have one skill and I'd be like the world's most renowned bourbon taster, I'd like to invite it around all the world.
It sounds like you just want to drink bourbon.
That's a side perk. But,
Okay, so an expert bourbon taster.
Sure.
Okay, I like it. That's a good one. All right. Well, guys, that's all the questions I have for you today, whether it's TFD driven or these silly questions I've got here. I appreciate you coming down. I think it was a really good interview. How you guys feel about it? You feel all right?
Yeah, great.
Feel pretty good? All right. Well, hey, I appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Thanks for
coming.
your time.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. My interview with John and Askari here on Pump and Motor Dialogue. I appreciate them coming down from Cary today, seeing the scenic side of North Carolina, and telling us all about steer-by-wire technology, TFDs, and FFDs. If you'd like to learn more about Parker Lord, visit their website at parker.com/Lord. If you have any questions or general feedback about the show, shoot us an email at pumpmotor@parker.com. That's pumpmotor@parker.com. And with all that being said, we'll sign off like we always do. My name is CT Leffler. This has been Pump and Motor Dialogue. And here we go. Maximum effort. Have a good one.